to say that we're living in tense times. We're living under a lot of uncertainty right now. Agreed? Fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests. I recently passed an anniversary that made me think of a time when I chose to live with uncertainty. Thinking about it brought a smile to my face and distracted me a little bit. So I thought that maybe I could do the same for you as I share some highlights and philosophical musings about a time when I completely changed my life. And October 6th, 1995. Place, some windowless room in a Baltimore courthouse. Alas, I did not marry Pete for his fashion sense, but I was wearing a beautiful linen sheath that was completely lined, that had buttons that went from the back of my neck all the way to the back of my knees. Bought it at Nordstrom's, of course, but that was the easy part. The night before, I was riddled with uncertainty. I couldn't make a decision. I was 37 years old and had never been married. I had a lovely apartment that I owned. And I was, for the last 10 years, been in my dream job. What was I thinking? So I flipped a coin. Heads, I'd get married. Tails, I would not. It was tails. I thought, okay, best 2 out of 3. But wait, there's more. That next month, we spent packing up our respective homes, putting everything in storage, left our jobs, and embarked on a 6-month journey around the world on the cheap. The smartphone was still just a glint in Steve Jobs' eye, and Google was not even a verb, it wasn't even a noun yet. So how did we do it? We had books, travel manuals, and look, we actually wrote in journals. Now, of course, we didn't drag all this stuff around with us. Whenever we would leave a country, we would pack up everything that we didn't need and we'd send it to my parents. Then we would go to a bookstore and we'd get our travel books for our next destination. We didn't know where we were going to stay or what we were going to do. We'd figure that out when we got there. We often stayed in the tent that we brought with us, or in hostels or cheap hotels. Some were better than others. We traveled by plane and train and bus and car and, of course, the overcrowded overnight ferry. We climbed volcanoes. We hiked on glaciers, different cities, and out of the way places. We saw magnificent beaches and majestic highlands, as well as expansive deserts. We visited ancient cultural sites and some that aren't so ancient. We met some wonderful people. And We made some friends. Our last day of our trip, we had a 24-hour layover in Paris, and we were rewarded by this wonderful sunset on the Seine. This was a remarkable journey. But what did I learn from it? How did it change me? Well, the earth is a beautiful place, but troubled. People are mostly kind and curious and interesting. After this trip, I no longer felt like a Baltimorean, as we call ourselves. I was truly a citizen of the world. Wherever I was home. I hope that I gave you a smile or two and maybe even inspired you to try stepping into your own chosen void. Of course, we have to get out of the void we're in now, but maybe not. But I want now and always have fun. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Karen. That was delightful. An experience